Let's talk about this week we just had. We are ending with poll watchers carrying guns and with Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked in his home by a potentially politically motivated attacker. How much trouble are we in?
I mean, I think I have been trying to suggest to people that this is not, I think as many of us now recognize, a contest between different tax rates or different healthcare policy proposals. This is a contest between part of the country that believes in continued and expanded liberal democracy, an effort to pursue a more perfect union, and a part of the country that is now attracted to the idea of fascism in the United States. And when you see violence being normalized like this, second in line to the presidency is Nancy Pelosi in her home, the attackers looking for her, allegedly, we are seeing a normalization of violence. And I think if people want to live in a country defined by the core idea of democracy, which is that we choose the future together through talking about things, not with hammers, it's going to be incredibly important to vote accordingly.
They're panic, gang. They are absolutely panicked. That is the rhetoric of defeatism. It's pessimistic, it's dark, it's despondent, and it's revealing precisely why the left is losing. We're going to sample some of the hell that broke loose on MSNBC this weekend, and we're going to see precisely why it all indicates that the far left really is beginning to unravel right before our very eyes. Now, what you just heard was a mere sampling of MSNBC's live meltdown over the weekend, where hysterics don't even begin to describe it. That, by the way, was an MSNBC pundit by the name of Onan Giridardis. From what I've seen, he consistently pushes the race card, the cultural Marxist weaponization of ethnicity and race in his so-called analysis, which is a masterclass of what's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is when you deliberately configure information and data specifically to support one's prior beliefs and values. So it's basically a kangaroo court. The very foundation of their individual fact-finding is inescapably biased towards a particular partisan position. So you know the old saying, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever political bias motivates a fact-finding effort will very likely, if not inevitably, show up in the results. And that's what passes as analysis over at MSNBC, this constant confirmation bias. And I want to show you exactly how it works out. It's fascinating. So what we just heard from this so-called analysis is that this election is not about the economy. It's not about inflation or recession, or even what a recession is. It's not about stagflation or pain at the pump or supply chain interruptions or skyrocketing violent crime. No, it's about the forces of light, those who seek to democratically pursue a more perfect union, and the forces of darkness, those who want to impose a fascist dictate on the nation. Now, ironically, this very same weekend that this so-called analyst said that, MSNBC fired their chief race huckster, Tiffany Cross of the Cross Connection, because she said this.
Joe, what's you?
We need the culture that comes out of Florida, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Arizona's far enough away. Let it go.
Tiffany, what do you think? One's got to go.
I say Florida literally looks like the dick of the country, so let's get rid of Florida. Ron,
are you saying castrate the dick of the country?
Seriously, let's castrate Florida. Here's the problem. Ron DeSantis, whatever you want to call Florida man, he is so problematic. The people there passed Amendment 4, which gave returning citizens, those formerly incarcerated, the right to vote. He instituted a poll tax. He has done everything he can to keep black and brown people from the ballot. He traffics in stupidity and ignorance, and I just think they are a problem for the rest of the country. Let's get them out of it.
So according to Tiffany Cross, Ron DeSantis is doing everything he possibly can to keep black and brown people from voting. Now, this is happening at the very same time that Miami-Dade County, which has one of the largest Latino populations in the nation, I believe it's 70%, Miami-Dade just saw for the very first time Republicans take the lead in early voting. Miami-Dade is about to turn red. And this so-called pundit, Tiffany Cross, has the gall to say that DeSantis is doing everything he can to prevent these voters from voting, even though the majority of them are voting for him. Their whole Marxist leftist worldview is collapsing. But if you think that was bad, Take a look at this.
Many of us have seen the dangers when powerful white people decide they want something, they annex it. And they've never had a problem replacing the people who stand in their way.
We see American white people are going crazy. They're resorting to violence.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
White people deputizing themselves in some position of authority to have jurisdiction over their life when they need to mind their blanking business.
I don't think it's our responsibility to be tasked with destroying and dismantling the racial oppression that's against us. That's just saying we're more at fault than the white people who constructed this system and the white people who continue to practice institutional racism.
A majority of white people do not support policies that would unpack and unroll and reform this system of justice. This is what they want. Matt Gaetz is giving the white folks what they want.
White replacement can strangle culture. So yes, we should all be concerned about white replacement. It is, after all, a very threat to our survival.
So that's the kind of stuff that you would get on a regular basis from this Tiffany Cross show, now defunct. And it appears that even MSNBC executives have their limits when it comes to blatantly racist banter like that. But now, let's circle back Psaki here. Do you remember what the original pundit, Ghirardelli, said at the beginning of this video? What's this midterm election about, according to him? It's about the forces of light, right? Those who seek to democratically pursue a more perfect union, and the forces of darkness, those who want to impose a fascist dictate on the nation. Having seen what you just saw, having heard what you just heard from Tiffany Cross, right? Which side of that political divide would you think Tiffany Cross was on? I know which side I'd put her on. For me, it's rather obvious. But which side do you think that fellow Ghirardelli puts her on? And that's all you need to know about the so-called news analysis over at MSNBC. But the meltdowns weren't over. Wait until you hear what MSNBC's other shameless race huckster, Joy Reid, had to say about all of this. But first, gang, this isn't the first time we've had to weather economic insanity brought about by inept and incompetent so-called leaders. What have patriots throughout the ages always turned to keep their assets safe during economic downturns? You know the answer. Gold, particularly gold, silver, commodities. And that's where our good friends over at Goldco come in. They're here to help you protect your savings in the midst of bumbling Biden's absurdities with the timeless values of gold and silver. Make sure to click on that link below and see how you can get upwards of $10,000 of free silver if you open up an account with them. They're absolutely awesome. They're patriots. They're one of us. But this is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Click on that link below right now and keep your assets safe with the timeless value of gold.
Quick thing about my friend, colleague, and sister, Tiffany Cross. She's not just my friend, she is my sister. I love her. I support her. I was boosting for her to get the show that she created, The Cross Connection, which she put her heart and soul into every day. And I just want to say that those on the far right who are attacking her on a social media app that I won't name, you don't understand how sisters move. So watch this space. We will be here. Her sisters will be here to support anything Tiffany Cross ever does. Know that. Believe that. That's tonight's readout. All in with Chris Hayes starts now.
Yeah, whatever, Joy, whatever. Joy Reid has always majored in meaningless platitudes. And Reid wasn't alone. Here's the insufferably pathetic Keith Olbermann and his response to the firing.
Just before an election vital to the future of democracy, MSNBC fired host Tiffany Cross because Fox News complained. Where is the protest by Lawrence O'Donnell? The anger from Chris Hayes? The threat to quit by Rachel Maddow? Will you pretend this is not your problem, Rachel, or will you stand up for what is right, like you used to? Also, NBC's Pelosi report reignites the homophobic right-wing conspiracy. Nobody got fired there. Ron DeSantis says he never thought the head of the leopards eating people's faces party would eat his face. Elon Musk likes a tweet quoting a neo-Nazi pedophile, and that was the highlight of his weekend on Twitter. And in memory of SportsCenter's Vinny the Stat Man, All that and more on the Monday edition of the Countdown podcast, available now wherever you get your freaking podcasts.
That's just so sad. We just heard at best a litany of the logical fallacy known as tu quoque, which is the fallacy of deliberately trying to deflect criticism by accusing the other side of doing the same thing. And, you too, that's what tu quoque means. You actually are admitting that your side committed the offense. You're just trying to deflect that admission into a charge of hypocrisy on the other side. Olbermann's been in his mother's basement for too long to realize that admitting that Cross was guilty of precisely what she was fired for doesn't help his argument on her behalf. Now, in terms of the immediate aftermath of Cross's firing, I think Brianna Morello said it best when she tweeted out, quote, "Twitter laid off thousands of employees. Facebook is looking to lay off hundreds of its employees. Don Lemon, Jake Tapper, and Chris Cuomo are all having meltdowns over their ratings. Tiffany Cross got her show canceled. November's shaping up pretty well for conservatives." And it most certainly is. But I think something much bigger is actually happening here that I think ties all of this together. I don't know how many of you caught Elon Musk's very profound tweet over the weekend, but he really hit the nail on the head. He hit the bullseye dead on. He was responding to a tweet sent to him by a digital media guy who complained that Elon Musk had now, in effect, enthroned anybody with an opinion, any website with a report, to the status of objective journalist. And as a result, fake news was going to permeate the Twitter platform. This is what Musk said in response. "You represent the problem. Journalists who think they're the only source of legitimate information. That is the big lie." Bullseye. That's exactly what this fellow at the beginning of the video, Girodardis, is assuming. He's assuming that he and MSNBC, and that of course would include Tiffany Cross, well, at least it did, but regardless, he's assuming that the far left activists at MSNBC represent the only source of legitimate information necessary for a fully functioning democracy. And this is key. That information turns out to be nothing more than a bunch of confirmation bias for a far left ideology that requires our conception of democracy be radically redefined in far left Marxist tribalist terms. Anything short of that is fascism. They're melting down, gang. They don't even try to hide their absurdities anymore. They're letting it all hang out for all to see, which means that we appear to be seeing, at least when it comes to MSNBC, we appear to be seeing the beginning of the end. The left really is unraveling. The days of the right are just beginning. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on how the woke left has officially lost Bill Maher. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless.